See, I had been molested as a child.
Wow.
Turned 17, and I was molested at the age of 8 by a man, and at the age of 5 by a girl.
Wow.
When I turned 17, I went into lesbianism. And
Mm.
so from the age of 17 to, man, when I turned 20, it just all went to pieces.
Wow.
And I was about to die in my sin. And the Lord, through the lady who actually became my pastor's wife, my pastor at the time, I moved on since, but he brought salvation to me through them.
Wow.
Yeah. So a few days after my 20th birthday, it was all over for me. And
Man.
I gave up everything.
Wow. So all of that tumultuous abuse, right,
Yeah.
led into other pathways where you may not even known what the moves of the abuse was doing, right? In some regards, as that wound was there and as raw as it was.
So
Wow.
yeah, because I mean, I tell people all the time, I'm like, man, I literally used to go to bed feeling like I had a ton of bricks in my stomach. And I would feeling like I had a ton of bricks in my stomach, not knowing what that feeling was. But hindsight 2020, the Lord speaking to me and my growth and maturity in Him, I now know that was the guilt and shame that I was carrying around.
Wow. Wow. Of being abused, or allowing the actions of that abuse kick off.
I was a child,
Yeah.
just the fact of being abused, and then your decisions you begin to make decisions through the lens of that trauma, through
True.
that. So it was just bad decision, compiled up on bad decision, and then of course the worst decision would be going into lesbianism, and just living that life and not really understanding the ramifications of my actions.
Yeah. We say in our work, like, if you're not seeking to transform your wounds, right, you'll transfer them, right?
Yes.
You'll transfer them on somebody else, and some of that transference is on you in light of your movement to that. Man, that's a good word. That's a powerful word. How everything that's going on today. We'll pause for. I want you to come back and break everything. I don't want to keep cutting your story down, cutting it up, but how deep was that? Like you said, it's just your world was kind of torn apart in that space. But like, that's a bold move, like to trust God in that way and in that space. And that's a new space. Am I right? That's like a new space.
Yes.
Like all of those variables in that spot. Like, what's going on in your head in the midst of all of that?
During like the whole transformation of it?
Yeah.
It was extremely new to me. I didn't know. I literally didn't have any preconceived notions about what to expect. I didn't have anyone to guide me at the time. And this was back in 2006. So It was, and this was like when lesbianism and homosexuality was really like pumping itself up. And
Exactly.
I was like stepping back. So I didn't have anyone who was like, hey, I came out of it. I can help you. I was, for lack of better words, God's guinea pig.
Okay.
So
Wow.
I all I knew is that everything that I did, and I tell everybody that everything that I ever did, everything that I do, I always went 100 at it. So I wasn't going to go 100 for everything else. And then when I came to the King of Kings and the Lord, 9%. Now I was like, no, I'm gonna give him my 110.
Wow.
I know him, but I want to know him, and just my hunger and thirst after righteousness. Because since I was a kid, I was like that. I was like, if you tell me that I was doing something the wrong way, and this is how you were supposed to do it, I was going to gravitate towards the right way.
Wow.
By that woman bringing, this is why lesbianism is wrong to me, and I was like, wow, this 1 + 1 = 2.
Wow.
I can't be in this no more.
Man, what were some of the, like, because there's a lot of folks who have, a different view, if you will, you know what I mean? And different perspective on it. Because my belief is everybody's human. If you had two heads and you're spinning around, I probably won't want to talk to you because I don't know what that is, but you're a human being. And in your human beingness, I don't believe that's God's best for you, but
Right.
I'm a walk with you in that space because you're a human being, and walk with you in the pronouns and the verbs and everything else that are there. But I wanna walk with you to be that light in light of how God would have us to be in that connection. But what was it that brought about? Because sometimes even talking with folks in that space may bring about a level of judgment that I don't want to talk with you any further because I may, like you said, shame. I may already feel a certain way, and then
Yeah.
you're. So there was a gift and a grace, I'm sure, that the pastor brought to meet you right where you are, right, to take you where God have you to be.
And it was more so because God knows all of us, right?
Okay.
It was more so when God came to me, he didn't come to me as the lamb. He came to me as the lion.
The line.
That's what I needed. That's what I needed.
Yeah.
I'm a soldier. I'm a warrior, and God knows that. So I have to speak to you like a warrior. I can't talk
Mm.
to you
Right.
like be okay type of situation. Like the Bible tells
Okay.
us, some save in that way, but some save with fear, hating the very garment that is stained with with their
Yeah.
sin.
Yeah.
So when he came to me, he just it was as simple as explaining it as everything is about my glory, right? Two women can't bring me glory. Two men can't bring me glory because children are my heritage and the fruit of the womb is my reward. You're
Mm.
not producing, there's no glory for me in that.
Mm.
And I'm like, I never heard it. I had
Wow.
never that way.
Right.
Thought I was loving somebody. That was
Mm.
it. And
Yeah.
but it wasn't so. But I also know that like I mentor a lot of women that have come out of that or trying to come out of
Mm.
lesbianism. And one thing is for sure, and I know what I see widespread is that when you come out of that, they don't deal with their trauma. You can't skip over God's process.
True. True.
And if you have an ought against your brother have an ought against you, then you need to go your way and be reconciled with your brother, and then come
Right.
back and offer your gift at the altar. Well, the first thing he had me do from saving me was to go and forgive the man face to face that molested me. Yeah,
Wow.
and
Ooh-wee. Now,
after I
how old were you with that? You just came to faith in Christ at 20.
I
You
was,
at 20?
I was 20, that was my first week of salvation. My
Dang,
first salvation. Man, when
beast mode. Yeah.
I am a warrior, I
Wow.
prayed,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I mean, I'm calling around looking for him. Mind you, I have to search for these people.
Right.
Calling around
Right.
looking for, and I saw the weight lifted off this man's shoulder. His shoulders were like this high. And he said, "Thank you."
Man,
He said, "I don't know why nobody wouldn't tell you where I was." But yeah, I mean,
wow.
saw that piece of freedom for him. And then because of I did what God wanted me to do right there, God was trusting me more and more. Okay, now I need you to go forgive this person. Now I need you to go get forgiveness for what you did to this person. And so everybody, I did it until there was no people left. And then
Mm.
back in 2013, I had just gotten married. And
Wow.
it was I'm like maybe a couple of months fresh into my marriage. I've been looking for the girl that molested me for 5 years.
Wow.
Me and my husband, we sold cable. We was going door to door, knocking on doors. And I wasn't supposed to even knock on this door because it's not my area, it's my husband's area.
Ah, okay.
Knock on the door, don't worry about it. Just mindlessly, boom, boom, boom. She come out the door. I'm like, I've been looking for you. Like, where you been?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. And this was in Texas. This is in an area in Texas. Man.
Yeah,
Wow.
moving to another city in Texas and then moving back. And she was all wrapped. She's wrapped up in lesbianism. But
Mm.
so when she come out, I'm like, man, I just want to let you know that I forgive you for molesting me when we were kids. And she tried to deny. I said, I was like, April, you molested me. And she was like, okay. She said, but Bill molested me, and Bill is her uncle, her mama's brother. And poor baby, so I pray for her as well. But it's just I forget the name of this movie, but it's a Denzel movie. And you remember they go around and if you if they touch you, the demon jumps into you.
Oh,
I
yeah. I couldn't watch the rest of that movie. I had to go. Yeah, I know that movie you're talking about. Yeah.
watched it back in the day, but But that's how it is. Like, that's what the demons want to do. Like, I need to corrupt you so I can have you to go and corrupt life. I need you to corrupt other life. And it just keeps going until somebody stops and says, hey, the buck stops at me. I'm no longer going to allow that to continue in my. I'm not going to allow molestation or rape to trickle down to my babies or my babies' babies.